Thanks for joining us. I'm Vladimir Duthier.
And I'm Christine Johnson. Big news from the NFL this afternoon. The league has released the results of its investigation into Deflategate, the allegations that the New England Patriots intentionally deflated the game balls used in last year's AFC Championship game against the Indianapolis Colts.
It says that Jim McNally, the Patriots locker room attendant, and John Yastrzemski, an equipment assistant, very likely deliberately deflated the balls used in the game, and that quarterback Tom Brady likely knew about it.
Now, the Colts raised complaints that the footballs used in the game were deflated. A subsequent measurement of those balls found that 12 of the 13 of those used in the game weighed less than the league required 12.5 to 13.5 pounds per square inch.
The Patriots ended up winning the Super Bowl, and after the season, the NFL retained a law firm to conduct an outside investigation. Let's get all into this with senior NFL writer for Sports Illustrated, Greg Bedard. Greg, thanks for being with us.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
So let me ask you right off the bat, what is your reaction to the report?
My reaction is, despite the claims by Patriots owner Robert Kraft, this report is very damaging to the Patriots. It looks like there was a concerted effort by not only the two employees but the quarterback Tom Brady to circumvent the NFL playing rules, and it puts a lot of things into question, and now the ultimate determination is going to come from Troy Vincent and Roger Goodell in the NFL office as to what, if any, penalties they're going to levy.
Greg, you say it's troubling, but is it surprising?
Well, it is surprising, Christine, based on, what we heard from Robert Kraft, Bill Belichick, Tom Brady, when all of this was going on before the Super Bowl. They were all pretty adamant that they didn't think that anything was going on. I believed, Belichick. I've talked to a lot of NFL coaches who they really have no idea what's going on with the game balls. It's certainly a personal quarterback sort of thing, but now after reading the report, we heard from Robert Kraft that they were going to cooperate fully. Then we see in the report that McNally was not made available by the Patriots for a follow-up interview. Kraft said he had already been available 4 times. They thought a 5th was excessive. Tom Brady declined to turn over his cell phone, or at least let the investigators look at his cell phone for text and email messages. That's not exactly the full cooperation that the Patriots said that they were providing to the NFL.
Yeah, and Greg, just so our viewers know, Robert Kraft, the owner of the Patriots, released a statement, and it's fairly long, but I'm just going to read a couple of bits out to you and get your reaction. He says, "I don't know how the science of atmospheric conditions can be refuted or conclusions to the contrary can be drawn without some definitive evidence. To say we are disappointed in its findings, which do not include any incontrovertible or hard evidence of deliberate deflation of footballs at the AFC Championship game, would be a gross understatement." He's essentially saying he's not buying it.
Yeah, a couple things about that. I mean, in the report, they dealt with scientists and other firms who looked at this, and they do this for a living, and they didn't find much believability into what the Patriots were selling in that regard, specifically Bill Belichick during his press conference where he talked about the game preparation of the balls. And they also, you looked at where the Colts balls were at halftime, and there wasn't a whole lot of PSI taken out compared to what the Patriots were contesting. And the other thing is, look, it's very hard to find hard proof. And Roger Goodell, who Robert Kraft has been one of his chief backers as commissioner of the NFL, he said a few years ago that they no longer can look for the smoking gun in these cases, that is too high of a burden of proof oftentimes in these circumstances. So now we're going to have to see if Goodell will put his money where his mouth is.
So initially, and I'm just now reading through this report because
it's long.
It is long.
Over 200 pages long.
I'm not even through it yet.
But it sounds as though there are 3 main abusers, basically, and that is Jim McNally, John Yastrzemski, and then, according to this report, more probable than not
Right.
that Tom Brady was at least generally aware. So let's focus on those three individuals. What are the repercussions here?
Well, I could see both team employees being fired. Certainly, McNally. The most damaging part of this report, and the most damaging evidence that we had not heard about to this point, were text messages between Yastrzemski and McNally, where they talked about how Tom Brady wanted his footballs on game day. Tom was upset one day because he could tell that they were overinflated. At one point in the report, they talked about how Tom Brady read the playing rules and he wanted them inflated right to the bottom because he likes his football softer. And he said, "Why don't you deliver the playing rules with them?" Saying there's no need to even check these or put any more air into them. But the text messages were certainly damning. At one point, McNally even refers to himself as the deflator.
Right.
There's no smoking gun in this report, but those text messages are certainly damaging.
And Greg, there's this one point in the investigation where they say, based on videotaped evidence and witness interviews, it has been determined that, there we go, there's that text message that you were just referring to. I'm going to just let our viewers look at it because there's some profanities in there.
Yeah.
But it's also, they say that at approximately 6:30 p.m., McNally removed the game ball from the officials' locker room and went into the bathroom and remained in that bathroom with the game balls for approximately 1 minute and 40 seconds, then left the bathroom and took the game balls to the field. And then you have, in addition to that, you have all these text messages prior to this.
Yeah, that whole bathroom trip is something people have talked a lot about. What comes out in this report, a couple things that are noteworthy. There were two other bathrooms that were closer to the officials' locker room that McNally could have used. He did not. He bypassed one that was a little bit more private and certainly wouldn't have game day personnel in it. And it was I've been in that bathroom in Gillette Stadium. It's a single, one person only, and you can lock the door behind you. The report also said, and this goes with what I've heard from other NFL personnel, is that 1 minute and 45 seconds is plenty of time for someone to go in there and take some of the air out of the balls.
So I was going to ask you also, so you pointed out, and the reason I'm asking this question, in the report, it says that they believe there was not any wrongdoing or knowledge of wrongdoing by the Pats ownership, so Robert Kraft, the Patriots head coach, Bill Belichick, or any other Patriots coach. So does this seem to you, just based on what we're reading, and we will tell our viewers this report is over 200 pages long, and we're all, as reporters, still going through it, but is it really just a case right now that they're focusing, and the investigation is focused on primarily McNally and Yastrzemski and ultimately Tom Brady, that it could just be these three guys?
Yeah, no question. And that is very much how it goes in the NFL and football in general. I mean, you talk to people, and when all of this broke, I was down at the Senior Bowl, and I talked to a bunch of different NFL people, and most of the coaches, especially coaches without offensive backgrounds, they're like, I've never even heard of PSI or anything like that. This is very much a personal thing for the quarterback. It's the football is their lifeblood, and they know exactly how they want their footballs. And they really, if you want to make sure that you get the balls the way that you want them, you're dealing only with a couple of guys, the equipment guy and the guy who handles the ball on game day. I do not believe that Kraft, Belichick, higher up in the Patriots had any idea about this. I do not, however, think that they are going to escape penalty because of that. I could see the team being fined for not being on top of the game day procedures and allowing this sort of thing to have an opportunity to occur. And as for the penalty for Tom Brady, I think Roger Goodell is seriously going to weigh a game suspension for Tom Brady.
But here, Greg,
because when you
question.
talk about violating procedures, the integrity of the game, that's a serious charge.